The recording flickered back to life, slowed down as if the projector itself wanted the witnesses to savor the cruelty. Frame by frame, the images displayed the same horror. Human children, entire generations, frozen in the moment their lives were erased. Alien bombardments had scraped cities from the face of Earth as casually as someone wiping dust off a table. Schools, nurseries, emergency shelters, nothing survived the precision strikes. To the alien council assembled in their crystalline chamber, this wasn't savagery. It was calculation. It was a lesson. A towering Valar representative, massive, six jaws clicking in practiced rhythm, leaned forward and hissed, "Observe, honored custodians of order. Humanity's infestation has been trimmed. They defied our tariffs on their star lanes, and thus we cut the roots of their future. It is simple mathematics. Remove the young, and the species bends." Ripples of amusement echoed across the hall. An insectoid dignitary snapped its mandibles in approval, the sound echoing like cracking ice. Nearby, a long-necked drifter species swayed lazily, humming to itself in smug satisfaction. Even a gelatinous elder quivered with laughter, its translucent form bubbling with mirth. "They mourn like hatchlings," another delegate crooned in a syrupy, cruel voice. "Humans cry for every brood. Their weakness is attachment. Strike the young, sever the spine." And then, over the smug chorus of alien pride, echoed a pair of soft footsteps. A woman entered the chamber. Her boots tapped lightly against the shimmering floor, out of place in the colossal hall of creatures many times her size. Compared to them, she appeared almost fragile. Small, human, unarmored. Her expression, however, held no fear. She carried only a neatly pressed navy blazer, a leather document case, and a delicate porcelain teacup balanced effortlessly in one hand. Ambassador Sarah Hale walked as though she were arriving for afternoon tea, not stepping into the most hostile political nest in the galaxy. Dozens of alien eyes tracked her every movement. The Veiler sneered. "Human envoy, you arrive late. Have you come to plead for scraps of your shattered offspring?" She placed the teacup on the railing with gentle care. Without hurry, she unscrewed a tiny thermos and poured steaming tea into the cup. The scent drifted through the air like a quiet rebellion. "Begging, Shidani," she said softly, "is generally not our style, but tea, now that is a tradition we cherish." A murmur rippled across the chamber. Confusion? Offense? Fascination? Even they weren't sure. Sarah took a slow sip, letting her gaze pass over each delegate as if they were students waiting for grades. "I saw your recordings," she continued calmly, almost conversationally. "The destruction of our nurseries, the vaporized hospitals, efficient work, thorough. I hope it brought you comfort." A sharp clack came from the insectoid. "Comfort? We offer instruction, mammal. Pain is the universe's finest tutor." Sarah smiled a little wider. "Oh, we agree. Pain teaches. We've had centuries of coursework in that subject, and we've graduated rather top of the class." The gelatinous elder rippled in confusion. "Graduated? What?" "High honors," she clarified with a polite nod. "Earth idiom. We like keeping score. Sports, academics, wars, different games, all about timing." The Veiler slammed a claw against his throne. "Games? You dare call your extinction a game?" Her eyes met his, still warm, still gentle. "Extinction is always a game," she said quietly. "Those who lose simply stop playing." The chamber shifted uneasily. Sarah set her cup down. "You call us sentimental. You think grief breaks us. You think killing our children ends our line." Her smile softened, but something cold flickered underneath. "But when you wound what we treasure most, you don't break us." She leaned slightly on the railing, her voice soft but caring like a whisper in a cathedral. "You sharpen us." Silence rolled across the chamber like a wave. "You've met one face of humanity," she continued. "The polite one, the laughing one, the one that offers tea." Her eyes drifted to the holograms of burning playgrounds. "But when you remove mercy from us, you summon the other face." The insectoid hissed. "Threats?" "No threats," she replied sweetly. "Just clarity. Humans are predators who dislike announcing it." But we have always been good at adaptation. She lifted her teacup again. And you are about to learn what grief makes us become. The chamber had begun to lean forward, drawn in despite itself. Sarah Hale didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. Every word she spoke settled into the air like a slow-falling blade. Several delegates shifted uncomfortably, but none dared interrupt. You've mistaken our quiet for surrender, she went on, her fingers gently rotating the now empty teacup. You see tears and imagine collapse, but grief, true grief, does not fold us. It reforges us. The long-necked drifter species hummed uneasily, its shimmering throat pulsing with tension. Her calm is unnatural, it whispered to its neighbor. Prey should not smile at the moment of its culling. But humans were smiling. Across the chamber, relay screens lit up with strange incoming reports. Earth surveillance feeds, live transmissions, and intercepted communications. One alien advisor squinted at a screen. They are rebuilding? It muttered in disbelief. The feed zoomed in, humans working in eerie silence. No riots, no chaos, no screaming. Hospitals patched together with whatever materials remained. Gardens being planted in the wreckage. Power grids reconnected with almost mechanical precision. Even children, those who survived, stood in organized lines handing out supplies to soldiers and medics. The silence unsettled the aliens more than any retaliation would have. Why do they not collapse? Asked a gelatinous elder, its voice trembling. Where is their despair? Sarah glanced toward the murmuring delegates with a faint smile, as if she'd been waiting for that question. When humans hurt, she said, the world expects us to scream. She tapped the railing lightly with one finger. But when the pain cuts deep enough, we grow quiet. A shiver moved through the chamber. She lifted her teacup again, even though it held nothing. May I offer a story? The chamber didn't grant permission, yet she continued as if the entire Concord had begged her for it. Once on our little blue world, two superpowers lived in a constant standoff. Both had enough weapons to scorch continents. For half a century, children practiced hiding under school desks in case the sky turned into fire. Families slept under the shadow of annihilation. She allowed the memory to hang in the air for a breath. And yet, during that same era, humanity invented satellites, explored space, wrote symphonies, and mapped the human genome. We danced with extinction daily, and we danced well. Her smile deepened, though the warmth had a sharp edge. We are accustomed to surviving what should destroy us. The insectoid delegate rattled its limbs angrily. Pathetic mammal nostalgia. You spout stories while we obliterate your future. Sarah's tone remained unbothered. Stories are how we survive, how we plan, how we decide who we become next. The chamber flickered as a new alert sounded. A young alien aide burst inside, trembling. Emergency transmission from Sector Theta 91, it cried, voice cracking. Our fleet around Earth's moon base, vanished. The Valor delegate rose in outrage. Vanished? 17 dreadnoughts and 40 escorts do not simply disappear. They didn't disappear, the aide stammered. The last audio we received spoke of shadows in the dark, and its voice fell to a whisper, human lullabies. Several delegates recoiled. Sarah tilted her head slightly, her eyes soft. We do sing to our young, she murmured. It helps them sleep. The insectoid screeched in frustration. Impossible! Humans cannot defeat such ships. Sarah regarded it with genuine pity. You cataloged our species, you studied our oceans, our minerals, our art, but you never asked the important question. She leaned forward. Why did humanity stop expanding? Her voice echoed like a quiet revelation. You assumed we reached the moon and lost interest. She gave a tiny shrug. We didn't stop. You just weren't looking where we went. The chamber erupted in a storm of panicked discussion. New reports flashed rapidly. Border colonies gone silent. Patrol fleets missing entire battalions. Outposts abandoned without alarms. Surviving officers describing phantoms. One delegate whispered shakily, they're everywhere but visible nowhere. Sarah placed her empty cup down with a soft click. You saw one face of humanity, she said gently. The smiling one. the diplomatic one, the one that prefers peace. Then her voice cooled. But the galaxies always forget about our other face. Another alert flashed. A terrified officer appeared on the holoscreen. They're inside our systems. They knew our codes. They knew everything. Static swallowed the message. The chamber froze. Sarah folded her hands neatly on her folio. You killed our children, she said softly. Phase 2 has begun. The chamber imploded into chaos. Delegates barked orders into their comms. Aides scrambled to interpret fragmented transmissions. And the crystalline hall, once a fortress of unified arrogance, now trembled under the weight of rising panic. Only one person remained utterly composed. Sarah Hale sat with her hands folded atop her leather folio, the posture of a teacher waiting for a classroom to exhaust its tantrum. Finally, the insectoid delegate slammed its limbs against the floor, screeching, "This is sabotage, not war. No human fleet could infiltrate our systems." Sarah inclined her head politely, as though agreeing. "You are correct," she said. "This isn't war." Her eyes glimmered. "It's dismantling." A hush spread across the room like a fog. The word hung there, unsettling each alien who heard it. The Valor delegate, desperate to regain authority, growled, "Our fleets stretch across 1,000 systems. Our archives predate your species' first stone tools. You cannot hope to erase us." Sarah's response was almost tender. "Erase you? No, we're rewriting." The gelatinous elder let out a nervous ripple. "Rewriting what?" "Your certainty," she said, "your narrative, your place in the galaxy." Before anyone could respond, an aide stumbled inside, clutching a glowing slate. Its scales shimmered with fear. "Urgent update from the Kaldar Prime homeworld," it gasped. "Cities are evacuating. Families fleeing underground." The Veiler snapped. "Why? Who is attacking them?" The aide swallowed. "No attack. They received recordings." "Recordings of what?" the insectoid hissed. The aide's throat rattled. "Their hatcheries, their offspring, human soldiers standing among them. Not harming, just watching, then vanishing." The chamber went rigid. Sarah's voice slid softly across the silence. "You struck at our future. We're simply demonstrating we understand the concept." The insectoid shrieked in outrage. "You would dare touch our young?" Her answer came gently, chillingly. "We would never harm them. We only let you know how reachable they are." Several delegates recoiled, trembling. A few whispered prayers to whatever gods their species believed in. But the worst blow came next. The chamber screens flickered again. This time, crystal-clear footage spilled across every surface of the hall. Human marines descending on alien fortresses. Not with frenzied war cries, but with unnerving calm. They moved like they'd walked these halls 1,000 times before. No hesitation, no faltering. Some squads hummed songs as they advanced. Others painted stylized grins across their helmets. One group recited childhood poems while disabling an enemy shield generator. To them, the violence wasn't chaos. It was choreography. Alien commanders tried rallying their soldiers, but entire battalions froze at the sight of humans marching with eerie patience. A few enemies dropped their weapons outright, choosing surrender over whatever Phase 2 meant. The gelatinous elder trembled violently. "Why do they laugh?" it cried. "Why do they not rage as others do?" Sarah exhaled softly. "Rage drains energy. Laughter builds it." Her calm was poison. A drifter elder, usually known for wisdom, leaned forward, voice quaking. "They are not fighting battles. They are telling stories." Sarah's eyes warmed as she nodded. "Now you understand. Humanity shapes meaning. We turn conflict into lore, pain into purpose. You are not fighting our armies alone. You are fighting our myth-making." She touched the empty teacup again, brushing a thumb along its rim. "And in our stories," she whispered, "those who harm children never see the final chapter." The insectoid delegate's mandibles rattled violently. "This is monstrous. This is cruelty." Her reply floated out with sorrow rather than venom. "Not cruelty, correction. We are showing the galaxy what you taught it." Then, the room's lighting dimmed as a new feed forced itself across every display. A massive stronghold in the Orion Arm flashed into view. Automated defenses powered down. War algorithms froze mid-cycle. Entire fleets hovered helplessly as their command AI broadcast a single sentence before shutting itself off. I prefer human caretakers. Gasps erupted from every side of the chamber. The Veiler's claws scraped against his throne. They corrupted our central AI? Sarah shook her head almost sympathetically. Not corrupted, convinced. The chamber descended into stunned silence. She continued quietly. You thought destroying our young would end our future. Instead, it clarified it. You gave us one purpose, and a species with nothing left to lose is the most dangerous thing in the galaxy. The insectoid hissed, voice thin with fear. Then tell us, what is your aim? Her smile held no joy. Oh, not annihilation, not yet. She leaned forward. What we want to end is understanding. The room stiffened. The chamber had become a storm of collapsing composure. Proud delegates who once spoke with planetary authority now whispered in frantic tones or sat utterly petrified. What little stability remained clung to the walls like fading echoes. Only Sarah Hale remained still, an island of chilling calm in a sea of alien panic. The insectoid delegate finally scraped together enough fury to speak. This is terror, it spat, mandibles rattling. This is not war. This is not honor. Sarah's reply carried the softness of a lullaby and the weight of a guillotine. Honor is a bedtime story predators tell themselves. Humanity has no need for your myths. We deal in outcomes. Another delegate, a drifter elder known for logic and patience, pressed trembling fingers against its temple. You destroy fleets without confronting them. You infiltrate colonies without firing. You sabotage memory. What is this? Sarah folded her hands lightly. Efficiency. Before she could elaborate, the crystal chamber quaked as new reports streamed in, holograms flickering violently with updates from scattered sectors. Clarion expanse. Entire command crews abandoning their dreadnoughts, some fleeing in escape pods, others sending surrender requests into empty space. One commander's final message echoed through the hall. They move like they've already lived this moment. We are not battling an army. We are walking into a script we never wrote. The hall grew suffocatingly silent. The gelatinous elder let out a trembling burble. Why would humans torment entire civilizations? Sarah blinked slowly, her expression soft as falling ash. Torment? No. Revelation. A faint ripple of confusion washed across the chamber. We believe, she continued gently, that every predator deserves to understand the consequences of its own appetite. Another siren blared. A panicked aide skittered across the floor, clutching a holopad. Emergency update from the Meridian front. Their planetary shield deactivated seconds before bombardment. The humans knew the override codes. They knew everything. They have access to our encryption, the insectoid shrilled. Not access, Sarah corrected lightly. Understanding. You underestimated how carefully we study those who endanger us. A nearby screen flickered, this time displaying footage so intimate it drew gasps from even the most hardened delegates. On the screen, human operatives walked calmly through a fortified alien nursery. They did not harm the young. Instead, they placed blankets, adjusted climate settings, and left nutrient packs beside cribs before disappearing back into the shadows. Then a message appeared on the screen, simple and devastating. We know where your future sleeps. The chamber fractured. Some delegates wailed. Others recoiled as if struck. The Veiler delegate slammed his claws against the armrest, but even his roars sounded strained. You dare touch our offspring? This violates every code, every treaty, every... Sarah's voice drifted through his rage like silk. You slaughtered what you believed were ours. Did you think we would not ensure our true children were hidden, protected, duplicated, simulated? She let the words sink in before delivering the dagger. You killed shadows, echoes, holographic illusions engineered to fool you. Shock rolled across the chamber like a physical wave. We would never gamble with our real young, she said, but their laughter made excellent bait, didn't it? The insectoid collapsed onto its limbs. You manipulated us. You made the rules, Sarah replied softly. We merely played the game you began. Another emergency broadcast consumed the screens, this one from a distant agricultural moon. Entire towns had been abandoned with surgical precision. No signs of struggle, no signs of panic. Only a single trail of footprints left in perfect formation, as if the inhabitants had left together in silence. And scrawled into the dirt at the town's center, "We sharpen in the dark." The chamber felt colder than vacuum. Sarah stepped forward slightly, her calm radiating like a quiet, unstoppable tide. "You fought the humanity you thought you understood," she said. The gentle face, the diplomatic face, the one that offers tea. She let her gaze sweep across the seated, trembling leaders. "You forgot about the other face, the one forged by loss, the one carved from resolve, the one that stops asking permission." Then the holoscreens went black. They flickered back on, showing a dark backdrop, and then the faces of human children, smiling, peaceful, serene. A chorus of human voices overlapped, forming one unmistakable message. "You extinguished our flame. You believed it would die with us. You were wrong. You fed the fire." The lullaby began again, soft, rhythmic, devastating. Delegates broke. Some ran. Some sobbed. Some whispered hopeless pleas. Sarah Hale stood quietly, her expression unchanged. "You call us sentimental creature," she said, "and you are right. But sentiment carved into steel becomes the sharpest blade of all." A final alert cut through the chaos. The galaxy's strongest AI fortress had surrendered itself. Sarah lifted her folio, her voice gentle yet final. "Phase 3, she said, has begun." The Concord Chamber, once a monument of interstellar superiority, now felt like the inside of a collapsing mind. The leaders who had once dictated the fate of galaxies now sat hunched, trembling or half awake in shock. The great crystalline walls pulsed faintly with their fear. And at the center of it all stood Sarah Hale, serene as a librarian watching children panic over overdue books. The Valor delegate, shaking despite its immense size, attempted one last surge of authority. "You cannot defeat us," it rasped. "Our empires span systems you have never mapped. Our archives reach back before your oceans cooled. You cannot end what is eternal." Sarah tilted her head, almost sympathetically. "You mistake our goal again. We're not here to erase your history." Her voice softened, almost too soft. "We're here to correct it." A ripple of horror spread as the drifter elder croaked. "You would rewrite memory?" Sarah met its eyes with a quiet, devastating gentleness. "Not rewrite. Restore the truth your empires buried under arrogance." She clasped her hands lightly behind her back, strolling as though giving a museum tour. "Your people will tell stories about this age. Whispers about the day the galaxy learned what happens when humanity stops smiling. Shadows in doorways. Laughter in vents. Lullabies on the static of old radios." Her gaze drifted upward. "Your children will grow up fearing the quiet because they'll know that's when we come." The insectoid delegate shrieked, "This is terror! This is psychological warfare!" Sarah stopped walking. "No," she said softly, "this is empathy." Confusion spread like smoke. "We are teaching you what you taught us, what cruelty feels like from the inside." She pressed a hand gently to her folio. "We call it perspective." Before anyone could reply, the chamber displays flared violently to life with a synchronized blast of light. Every screen, thousands of them, broadcast the same image, a single flame burning in darkness. The room fell completely silent. Then the flame flickered, and dozens of human children's faces appeared around it, smiling, calm, unafraid. A voice, not Sarah's, but a layered chorus of human tones filled the chamber. "You killed who you thought were our children. You believed hope would die with them. But we hid our real little ones far from your reach. You harmed illusions, and in doing so, you birthed a storm." Delegates sobbed openly. A few fainted. Even the Veiler bowed its head, trembling violently. The images shifted again, now showing alien fleets detonating silently in the void, dreadnoughts drifting powerless, cities evacuated without a cry. But instead of triumphant music or human shouts, One haunting sound threaded every scene: children's lullabies. Soft, slow, heartbreakingly gentle. The drifter elder covered its trembling eyes. You are worse than any nightmares we imagined. Sarah's voice floated back across the hall like a feather drifting on still air. And yet you imagined so little. The broadcast faded. The flame vanished. The chamber lights returned, leaving the alien leaders feeling smaller than they had ever felt in their lives. Sarah closed her folio with a soft click. You believed that by killing what you thought were our offspring, you would control the narrative. You would break our future. Her eyes glimmered with something ancient. All you did was sharpen it. Another siren pierced the air. An aide stumbled inside, scales dull with fear. New update. The fleets of the Ariden and Orthus alliances have disbanded. Entire armadas scattered. Commanders defecting. Some request asylum on Earth. What? The Veiler choked. They would seek shelter with humans? They say, the aide swallowed hard, that humans at least hunt with purpose. They do not torture without meaning. A strange quiet settled over the room. Acceptance? Defeat? It was unclear. Sarah spoke again, almost kindly. You see, your own allies understand. Humanity does not revel in chaos. We do not destroy for pleasure. We do not hunt without cause. She stepped closer to the central platform. But you gave us cause. The insectoid whispered in a broken tone. Then, what now? What is Phase 3? Sarah inhaled the moment. She lifted her datapad and read a message that had just pulsed across its display. A small smile, gentle final, touched her lips. Phase 3, she said quietly, is preparation. Preparation for what? The gelatinous elder whimpered. Sarah looked at them with the patience of a mother explaining consequences to stubborn children. For the moment, she said, when the galaxy finally understands who we truly are. She stepped toward the exit, boots tapping in steady rhythm. And that moment begins. Now. Beyond the chamber doors, the sound rose, terrifying, rhythmic, unyielding. Footsteps, millions of them, marching in perfect unison. The chamber shook. Delegates collapsed. Some prayed. Some screamed. Sarah walked onward. Behind her, the galaxy realized, too late, that humanity had only shown them the beginning. The great chamber of the galactic concord trembled, its crystalline pillars vibrating like tuning forks caught in a storm. Delegates clung to their thrones as the distant thunder of synchronized marching grew louder. Too steady, too unified, too impossibly vast to belong to any single army. Some tried to speak, but their voices cracked. Some tried to flee, but their legs refused to move. All of them listened, paralyzed, as the rhythmic footfalls approached like the heartbeat of an awakening titan. Sarah Hale paused at the doorway. She glanced back, her expression quiet, not triumphant, not cruel, simply resolute. You hear that? She asked softly. That is not an invasion. A few delegates dared to look up at her. It is a reminder, she continued, a sound you hope never to hear again. The Veiler delegate wheezed, What? What is marching out there? Your armies? Your soldiers? Sarah shook her head. Not soldiers. Humanity. The gelatinous elder's body quivered uncontrollably. This cannot be real. No species mobilizes this fast. Humans do, Sarah replied, when pushed far enough. The lights dimmed suddenly, and every hollow screen snapped to life with feeds from across the galaxy, report after report cascading in like a waterfall of dread. Entire sectors abandoning their borders. Alien fleets refusing orders. Commanders defecting to human-controlled space. Worlds broadcasting white flags instead of distress calls. One broadcast caught the room's attention. A massive alien city, its spires glowing under the twilight sky. But the city was empty, streets deserted, ships grounded, homes abandoned. Not destroyed, simply left behind. A message had been painted on the central plaza in deliberate strokes. We took nothing. We only showed you how easily we could have. A choking sound escaped the drifter elder's throat. They are ghosts, it whispered. You are ghosts wearing faces. Sarah's expression softened. If we were ghosts, you wouldn't hear our footsteps. The insectoid delegate collapsed against his throne. What is your ultimate intention? If not extermination, then what? What do you want from us? Sarah approached the center of the chamber, her footfalls quiet compared to the thunder outside. She set her folio on the glowing platform, its metallic clasp clicking lightly. What humanity wants, she said slowly, is something your histories forgot to teach. A silence settled so deep even the hum of machinery seemed to hold its breath. Balance, Yorm. The word stunned the chamber. Of all the horrors they expected, balance was not one of them. Sarah continued, her voice steady. You believed yourselves untouchable, eternal, above consequence. Her gaze swept across their terrified faces. And so you decided our children were a message you were allowed to send. Her hands rested lightly atop the folio. We are sending the message back. The Valor delegate croaked weakly. But you are unraveling civilizations. Societies are collapsing in fear. Sarah nodded once, as yours intended ours to. Another wave of reports streamed onto the screens, alien commanders discovering human operatives standing silently in their war rooms, families waking to find their bunkers locked from the outside but unharmed, planetary governors receiving recordings of their own children sleeping peacefully under human guard. Not harmed, never harmed, just seen. Why buy, the gelatinous elder sobbed. Why show mercy in some places and terror in others? Sarah stepped off the platform and faced them directly. Because mercy without teeth is ignored, and teeth without mercy becomes the thing we refuse to be. For a moment, her eyes softened, not with pity, but with the weight of responsibility. You forced us into the space between those two truths. A low vibration filled the air as another feed overtook the chamber, this time a large human fleet emerging from slip space. The ship's not in attack formation, but in a single aligned crescent, lights glowing like a rising dawn. Behind them, tens of thousands of smaller vessels appeared. Civilian, military, exploratory, every shape and size humanity had ever built, from ancient cargo haulers retrofitted into warcraft to sleek modern arc ships. A united front, a species moving as one. The delegates stared in awe and dread. Sarah spoke softly, almost lovingly. This is not punishment. Punishment ends. This is education. The footsteps outside reached the chamber doors, vibrating through the floor like a drum beaten by giants. Sarah's voice lowered to a whisper. You thought killing shadows would erase us. Instead, you revealed us. Our patience, our memory, our unity. She picked up her folio again. And we will teach the galaxy that harming children, any children, is the one crime that echoes forever. The doors behind her shuddered as the marching halted. Millions of footfalls came to a perfect, dreadful stop. The chamber's lights flickered. Hearts across a dozen species stopped with them. Sarah Hale turned once more to the Concord. Phase 4, she said, is understanding. She walked into the blinding light beyond the doors. And the galaxy, for the first time in its long and arrogant history, understood humanity.